Hi everybody, it's Lisa Campion here on Facebook Live in my office, and today I wanted to talk a little bit. I'm doing like a little series on psychic development, how we can really develop our psychics, what we can do to, you know, get the kind of psychic that's like we all have psychic ability. How can we increase what we already have? How do we know that we're getting a psychic, and what does even that mean, really, you know? So it's funny, being a psychic, that's my full-time job, and I really kind of like to be a psychic. But you know, I'd say we're all psychic. It's a little bit like having athletic ability or musical ability. Everybody's got some. You might have a lot. You might have like the psychic capacity or talent of like an Olympic athlete. Or you might have just a little, but whatever you have to work it. You have to practice. Like let's say you were somebody that came with a lot of musical talent. You have a lot of natural musical talent. You still have to pick an instrument, you still have to play, you still have to practice, you still have to take lessons. It's sort of the same thing. Like anything that we have a natural talent for, we still have to work it, right? So I noticed that a lot of times people who are pretty psychic don't know that they're doing it, because we got a lot of misinformation based on what we see on TV, what we think TV psychics are, and it's not always like that, right? Sometimes it's like that, but oftentimes our psychic experiences are much more subtle. There are things that are happening to us all the time. So maybe like you have a feeling about something, you have a good or bad feeling. Maybe you just know, you don't know why you know. You might have a dream that comes true. Like the real deal is so much more integrated into our ordinary life than we might think. It's not always like, you know, TV psychics like have like these huge dramatic experiences, like, you know, they fall on the floor and twitch and foam at the mouth, and it's often not like that. So the best way to increase your psychic, one of the best ways to increase your psychic ability is to know which one of your psychic senses is open. So what is a psychic sense? It's what I was talking about, the feeling, the knowing, and when we have, like, I'm a visual psychic, which is the most rare, actually, and it's kind of a pain. It's like the one you think you want but you don't really want. When I work with psychic students who have that, they often come to me and they're like, can you help me turn this off, because it's horrible actually and I hate it, and make it go away. So it's not that much fun, but it's somehow the one people think they want, because that's what we see really on TV. So it's good to know what yours is, because when you know what yours is, you can focus on it and strengthen it a little bit. So maybe you have the visual. If you do, you might see things out of the corner of your eye, and you look and you turn and things aren't there. You might see colors around people. You might have a very active dream life. So visual psychics are often big dreamers and have big, you know, it's easy for them to visualize and imagine things. That's sort of how you know. What's more common and actually more accurate is the auditory. So that's when it's the hearing sense. It's very common. It's actually often more reliable. And you kind of, it's like hearing a voice in your head. You often think that you're talking to yourself. Like, I have really good conversations inside my own head, and then I realize it's actually how I receive psychic information. So it's like this voice in your head that you think is your own. It might be as simple as, oh, you better get some milk because you're out of milk at home, or don't forget your umbrella today, or, you know, kind of a clear voice that's telling you something interesting and important. So it's a very handy one if you have that one. People who have a strong auditory connection are often very interested in music. They like music. They would rather like listen to a book on tape than read, so they're auditory learners too. There's also the kinesthetic psychic. So kinesthetic just means in the body. And this is the one that I don't want you to underestimate the power and usefulness of this. So people tend to overlook this one. You would have a lot of body sensations. Like all good massage therapists and body workers have this. You know, they have that capacity to, they put their hands on you and they know exactly what's going on in your body. I really like this physical bodies, it's never wrong. Your body never lies. Your body always knows what's real and what's really going on. So this is a very good one. People tend to not pay attention to this one. And the tricky thing about the kinesthetic or the body one is that you have to be in your body. You have to be paying attention. You have to be grounded and in your body. It's a little bit why I'm such a stickler with my students about being grounded. If you're not grounded, you're going to miss all the incredible psychic information your body is sending you all the time. Taste and smell, because we have taste and smell too. And a lot of times when I'm talking about the psychic senses, they're like the inner sense. So the visual psychic, it's like your imagination eye. It's your psychic eye. It's very rare. It does happen that you would, but it's rare that you would see actually a spirit with your real eye, like you think there's somebody standing in the room. That does happen. It's a bit rare. But the psychic sense is more, it's happening in your imagination. The same thing with the auditory sense. So sometimes if you're an auditory psychic, you might actually hear, a voice talking out loud, like you think somebody said something. But really, you're going to hear it inside you. Like this is this difference between the psychic and the real senses. And the taste and smell is kind of like that too. So it's a funny one because smell is something that often happens with when dead loved ones, the beloved dead, your ancestors or your beloved people come to visit, they'll often come with a smell, because smell is the sense that's the most tied to our memory. And when we smell things, like I always remember like what the inside of my grandmother's purse smells like. It's this unique, totally like her perfume and money and gum. And when I smell that, I know it's my grandmother. So smell can be something that's linked to us. And then the knowing is also very important. It's like the gut. I don't know why I know, I just know. It's a gut thing, almost always never wrong too. So you really have to pay attention to this one. So it's good to think about which ones are yours and, think about that. So Catherine, hi Catherine, you wanted to know what's the best way to ground and shield. It's a really good question, and there's a lot of ways to do it. I usually use meditation and breathing, so I teach a guided meditation where you close your eyes, you breathe really deeply into your belly, and you exhale down through your legs and into the ground. That works well for me, really well. But you can do things like take your shoes off and rub your bare feet. Being barefoot on the ground is very grounding. Being outside in nature is very grounding. Sometimes people can use a breath or a meditation. Sometimes you need something to do, actually do. Some people like crystals, that carry crystals in their pocket that ground them. Other people like flower essences. So we can do, maybe next week we'll do a whole Facebook Live on grounding, because it's a great topic. It's really a foundational thing we need to know. So I think that if you're wanting to increase your psychic, the best thing you can do is, one of the things that's really important is to figure out what psychic sense is really yours, and to work with it. So we pay attention. We need to pay attention. We need to notice. Oh my God, I think I'm having a feeling. I'm having a knowing. I have something going on that a hit is coming to me, and I'm like, it's this thing. So we need to pay attention to them when they come, and then we need to kind of honor them in a way by acting on them. And I'm not saying you should act on every crazy thought that comes through your head, but we need to sort of work with that stuff like it's real when we act on it, and we tend to get more. When we don't pay attention and we don't act on it, it shuts down. When we pay attention and we act on it more often than not, sometimes, then we get more. So, but the first thing is to really start by noticing when you get stuff, what channel does it come through? How are you receiving it? Is it through dreams? Is it through feelings? Is it through knowing, hearing in your body? So pay attention to that, and when you pay attention to it, you'll get more. And then as you get more and pay attention to that, other ones of your psychic senses might open, right? So that's, I think, what I have today. And Next time we'll do some conversation about how to ground. It's super important, and never get tired talking about grounding in children. All right, so talk to you guys later. Have a great day. Bye.